Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I'm Barb Hefner, a member of your parish committee. We're happy that you're here in this peaceful sanctuary, or happy that you're with us online at home. If you're a visitor here today, we're happy to have you here. If you would like to join us after the service for a coffee hour, which we sometimes call community time, you'll find us downstairs in the room directly below us. If you just follow the traffic at the end of service, you'll find cookies at the end of your path. If you have questions about First Parish, you can always ask the folks at the welcome table who will be downstairs in the vestry where the cookies will be served, or you could talk to Kate Holland over there who's waving at us. She's our Director of Lifespan Education. Our mission is to build community, to search for meaning, to care for one another, and to make a better world. A big thanks to all of our service participants. You'll find their names listed in our order of service. Oh, please remember to silence your cell phone. Please join me now in taking a moment to say hello to your neighbors in the pews or to wave at the camera for folks at home. A couple of quick announcements. We're currently in low for COVID, so that means that masks are optional. If you've not already submitted your recommendations for folks on the search committee, a survey went out a couple of weeks ago, but it's going to go out again today. So that's the team that will help to select our next settled minister, so that's a really important survey to complete. We'd appreciate your input. Also, we have a special speaker today. Claire-Karl Müller is the Movement Building Director at UUMass Action. They have organized at the local, state, and federal level on climate and environmental justice since 2007, winning victories to stop pipelines, transitioning coal-fired power plants to solar, and to build community. Claire-Karl is coordinator of the statewide Climate Justice Coalition, Mass Power Forward, which they co-founded in 2015, as well as the UUMass Action staff lead for Indigenous Solidarity. And last but not least, we have an announcement from the auction team. Hey, where are you going dressed like that?
Well, we're going to the Mediterranean, or at least a Mediterranean-themed auction.
Can I come?
Sure, everyone can come.
I just happen to have these handy.
Is it me? No.
When is the auction?
When is the auction? Funny that you should ask. The online auction items go live March 1st. That's Friday, and you can bid online for 3 weeks. You can also preview the items that will be in the silent auction and the live auction on the night of the event. The event, mark your calendars, Saturday, March 23rd. But even if you can't come, you can make a bid by proxy. Just contact one of us.
Oh, this is like last year when we went to the 70s, right? Everyone, yeah, okay, that was great. I loved there. I almost thought I was back in the 70s, except for the food was good. And most people weren't burning any undergarments.
Yes, we had a blast.
I missed it, had a family thing. Tell me about it.
Oh, it was great. Entertainment by some of our finest First Parish singers. Ted did the music. We had a silent auction. We had a signature drink. A contest was judged by Kit and Lynn for the costumes. And we had a great raffle, too. Did someone win something great?
Best of all, I won a John Thompson original print for the price of a raffle ticket.
Ooh, yeah.
But, you know, since I was on the planning team, there was some talk of an audit, but I just dodged that.
Oh, it's me, sorry. It is? I don't see where. You know, these sunglasses are impossible. I gotta go to my readers. I didn't need those in the 70s. That's what's confusing me. Where are we then?
Anyway,
Oh, we also had food, drink, beer, and a photo booth.
and don't forget, just hanging out for an evening with a great community of people.
This year, we've added childcare to make it easier for families to come.
You know, I just thought seeing the people in those costumes, those parishioners, it was worth the price of admission. So please try to come.
Wait, is it expensive to come?
No, 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 it's free.
Justice?
But you might want to bid on some items. They start as low as $15, and we'll also be selling raffle tickets, which you can buy online or buy at coffee hour starting next week.
Okay, so just a reminder, bidding starts on Friday the 1st at 2 o'clock, right? Somewhere around there. What was that? Yeah, the auction URL. And by the end of the week, we'll send better directions about how to get onto the auction site. And if anyone has problems, please just contact one of us, and we should be able, we'll probably be back from the Mediterranean by then, you think?
No.
No. All righty. One more thing. When's the auction? The 23rd. Oh. March 23rd. Thank you. All right, first we go live, though. Thank you.
And now our service will begin with our chalice lighters, the Levine family.
Remember, I need help.
With open minds and loving hearts, we gather to search for meaning, to care for one another, and to work together for a better world.
Praise be yours from God the Son, all praise be yours. We belong to the earth, attributed to Chief Noah South. This we know. The earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. This we know. All things are connected, like the blood which unites one family. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons and daughters and children of the earth. We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. And now we'll sing the hymn number 348, Guide My Feet.
Good morning. Am I off or on? Am I on? No? Huh. Can I have technical assistance? Somebody know how to work the mic? Hello? Ah, there we go. See? Thank you, Lee. So I'm Kate Holland. I'm the Director of Lifespan Education here, and I use she, her pronouns. So this morning, instead of a story, I thought I would let you guys start our Seek lesson with us today, because the topics seem to be really nicely aligned this morning. So the first question that I have for the kids and all of you today is, who knows what the word justice means? Who knows about what justice is? Somebody. Jan. It means to be fair. That's a good one. Anybody else have a definition that they like for justice? Okay. Well, my book this morning for the kids says it's to treat or show something or someone in a way that is as good as it should be. Next one, equity. Who knows what equity means? Anybody got it?
Come on.
Equalness.
Equalness.
Balance.
Balance, that's right. And it says the definition is justice according to natural law or right. So I'm going to ask some questions here. So who, because we do a lot of justice work here at First Parish, who has ever cooked a meal for either Turning Point or Family Promise? I know a lot of families can answer that question that they did. Yep. Who has ever given a ride to somebody that needs to go someplace? Who has ever had time to take with a friend when you know that they're having a hard time? Who's done that? So treating people really well and doing justice work, even bigger stuff, like who has ever been to a Black Lives Matter rally? There you go. So bigger or smaller, justice work is really something that we can all do together. So at the end of each of the pews, and if I missed a pew, please share with somebody else, I have a little bag. And in my little bag, there are little jewels. So everybody take a jewel from the bag, and I want you to hold it in your hand. Open it up. Go ahead. Okay, everybody got their jewel? Okay, so we're going to start with a meditation. So I'm going to ask you, if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. If you're not, you can kind of soften your gaze. And so I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in and out and in and out. So I'm going to ask you to think about the justice work we've done, the work we've done to help people be equal. And as you hold your jewel in your hand, you can feel how smoothly sometimes that goes. When it's something very simple or something that you're comfortable doing, it can feel very smooth and even. Now flip your jewel over. You can feel that pointy part of the jewel. And so sometimes the work we do is hard, it's rough, and it feels so big that we don't feel like we can do it alone. And so the joy in this room is that we have community that we can work with to help us do the justice work together. So take another deep breath in, and a deep breath out. One more. Deep breath in, and a deep breath out. And if you're ready, you can open your eyes. So thank you all for starting my lesson for this Sunday. And I'm going to ask my friends that are in their C class to please come on down. We'll finish the rest of our lesson. You can keep your jewels if you dig holding on to them. They're good fidget. Okay, and I'm going to ask all of you, please sing us out. Big voices.
So I work at UUMass Action, which is the statewide nonprofit dedicated to providing pathways for justice for UUs at the statewide level. I'll talk more about our 5 different campaigns for justice during my sermon, but they're immigrant justice, environmental justice, housing justice, environmental justice, and decarceration. And so I ask, as you do your offering today, to consider giving generously. We do this work as a nonprofit, and we work to partner with all the congregations across the state so that we can do our work as vigorously and as quickly as possible, because we need justice now. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Debbie Levens, a lay minister for this congregation. And this is a time in our service that we set aside to share the joys and the sorrows that we all hold. In both our sharing and our bearing witness, we affirm our covenant to care for one another. Each Sunday, we light a vigil candle in recognition of the pain and suffering being experienced around the world due to ongoing war and violence. May this small act help us unite in our prayer for the end of all suffering. If you have a personal joy or sorrow that you'd like to share, please come forward now. Or if you raise your hand, I can bring you the mic. If you're on the final candle for those joys and sorrows not spoken, may we hold in our hearts those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold in silence. May it be so.
It is said that justice is love in public. So let's take a moment together to breathe in, notice that we are together. Breathe in, noticing that we love each other. Breathe in and notice that we can have justice together. And now a moment in silence. My name is Claire-Karl, as introduced. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm so glad to be with you this morning. Thank you so much for the invitation to be with you. Today, I want to talk about UUMass action, our solidarity model, and how the practice of solidarity is, in my opinion, an invitation to be fully ourselves, to be fully human together. Before I get into all that, I do want to share a little bit about myself. And why did I decide to dedicate my life to justice work and to solidarity? Why is that my life's purpose? Well, I have to say, I think it starts when I was a really angry kid. I realized pretty early on that I was not okay with the status quo. I'm a person with big feelings, always have been. I like to talk to trees, for example. I'm a spiritual person. And when I was old enough to ask my parents, who are we? What's our heritage? What are our songs, our food, our music, our traditions, do we have a costume? I wanted to be connected to ancestors, to heritage. I got the answer, we're American. That's it. There was a real strong wall. And I remember feeling like I wasn't quite old enough to understand, but I understood that there was something kind of intense about that answer. Now at 38, after doing years and years and years of research, I can tell you that I'm at least 11 kinds of European. I am Irish, Welsh, Scottish, English, French, German, Swedish, Norwegian, Polish, and the Balkans. Perhaps some of us are cousins. But that feeling like there was something I was supposed to be connected to and getting nothing, that broke my heart. And it still breaks my heart today. That my ancestors, I'm between 5 and 15 generations here in the US, assimilated so intensely to whiteness that we cut that off. And it made me angry. By senior year of high school, my mother had pegged me. She said, you are going to the nonprofit sector, and you are going to try and save the world, aren't you? And I was like, yes, thank you for seeing me. I'll be going now. And I never looked back. When I was 20, when I was still in college, Katrina hit. And I decided to take off time. And I volunteered in one of the most devastated neighborhoods of New Orleans that had been under 12, 16 feet of water, the lower 9th Ward. I ended up staying for 7 months. It was the last neighborhood to have power and water service restored, and it needed a lot of support. At 20, I was pretty good with people and good with computers, and so they said, hey, can you man the office and answer the phone? People are gonna call asking for support. They need their homes shoveled out of mud, and you're gonna take these intake calls. That's when I learned about vicarious trauma. But the real lesson of that time was sitting at that desk. There was a piece of art on the wall, and it was a quote by Leela Watson, an Aboriginal activist in so-called Australia. The quote says, if you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. I remember I used to stare at it every single day because I really didn't get it. I was like, how is my liberation bound up in the 9th Ward? I'm from Massachusetts, I'm a middle-class white person. I'm so disconnected from this community, and yet I feel passionately that I should be here. But Leela Watson is saying something here, and I can't quite grasp it. I felt like I was missing something really important there. And that's when I began to understand that I had to be cautious about how I did my justice work. I come from a Protestant background, I'm white and middle class, and let's be real, Christianity has a strong momentum of toxic charity, of trying to help people, but actually deeply harming them. I mean, the entire continent here was colonized on the premise that Indigenous people needed to be Christianized in order to be real people. That's the kind of help that the church has offered in past, of oppressing whole groups of people with the best intentions of love. It's not enough to have just good intentions, right? There's also deep paternalism in charity work, toxic charity work, I should say, where the helpers are in this kind of parental role and the helpless, the needy, are infantilized as children, where we take care of people and help them, but only in the ways that we've decided are good for them because they don't know for themselves. That's not solidarity amongst equals. And I really got the sense from staring at that quote over and over. I had this image of her and I, we would be holding hands, kind of walking forward together. It wouldn't have this hierarchy paternalism. And so the thing about solidarity is that it calls on us to examine ourselves, to create equalness between us and the people that we are working with. And it's not always easy for me, I'll be honest. It's very easy for me to see how Black folks, Indigenous folks, people of color are hurt by white supremacy, by racism. But it's not always easy for me to be grounded in how I'm hurt by that, how I am also standing side by side. On the flip side, I'm a non-binary person. It's very easy for me to see how I'm hurt by the gender binary. And it's also easy for me to see how all of my cisgender folks are also hurt. And so there's this exercise that we must do with our minds to figure out how is my liberation bound up with folks who are being hit first and worst, who are being oppressed, even when I have the privileged identity. UUMass Action, the nonprofit I come to with you today. We're the statewide nonprofit for UUs to work in solidarity with frontline organizations at the state level. And we do this work specifically from a solidarity perception. We work to build relationships so that we're standing side by side, holding hands with frontline organizations. We do this because we know that frontline organizations and movements have some of the best information about the oppression. Just like how I, moving through my day, bump up against the gender binary, ow. That bathroom, there's no bathroom here for me, ow. When you have a frontline identity, you bump up against the oppression on a daily basis. And so frontline organizations, they have the best information about how an oppression is hurting us. They have the best vision for how to fix that and the solutions, and they're least likely to compromise for a false solution because they have the most skin in the game. And so these campaigns, we bind up our liberation with them. We work to see how they can heal and make things better for all of us. Because as a white middle-class person, actually was brought up in the mythology, and perhaps you feel this too, that because I have privilege in this system, that somehow my life is the one that is, the one that everyone's seeking to have, that it's somehow the destination that we're all trying to be in. But that's not true. I'm not actually okay in white supremacy. As I told you in the beginning, I actually lost a connection to my heritage because of white supremacy. And so I want to share with you about our 5 campaigns, and in the process, talk to you about how I find my liberation bound up in each one of them. So first, let me tell you about immigrant justice and my liberation. In the current status quo, immigrants are not seen as fully human. My entire adult life, I have worried about money. I have worried about getting access to good health care, affordable housing, what will happen to my parents as they age. Perhaps you've had some of these worries. Well, core to immigrant justice is hospitality, welcoming our siblings and ensuring that all of their core needs are met. In essence, that the inherent worth of dignity of every human being is honored. So you can imagine if we created a society where immigrants are welcome and taken care of, I would also be better. Right now, UUMass Action is working on campaigns to accompany asylum seekers as they arrive in our state and to make sure that they are welcome and get their needs met. Our second campaign is around decarceration, ending solitary confinement, and dismantling the prison system. I definitely feel my liberation bound up in this campaign because our prison system is based on a punishment mindset. It's centered around the idea that if you make a mistake, you should be punished. I don't know about you, but I've made mistakes in my life, sometimes big ones. Sometimes such big ones that I have felt really badly about myself, questioned my worth even, my goodness, wondered if I was even lovable. When we end solitary confinement and dismantle the prison system, it will be because we believe in each other's goodness and that when we make mistakes, that they should not be met with punishment, but with healing, with repair. We would replace that prison system with a system of healing and repair. And so I know I will be better when that campaign is won. Right now, we are working to pass 2 bills at the state level, one around human rights and ending solitary confinement in Massachusetts, and another to establish a moratorium on building new prisons in our state. Let me tell you how my liberation is bound up in environmental justice. First off, climate and environmental justice, injustice, is only possible because we have a system that believes that some people in some places are disposable. They are sacrifice zones that can be trashed, poisoned, allowed to be flooded. And this idea has gotten desperately out of control to where our entire planet's stability is at risk. In environmental justice, everyone has clean air, clean water, and a stable climate. And I know I want that. Right now, we have 5 bills we are working to pass at the state level in coalition with many others. One around clean air, another around a just transition to an electric renewable economy, and a third that I'll mention around halting new gas expansion. And lastly, my favorite, not that I'm supposed to have favorites, is the campaign with Indigenous Justice. I told you that my ancestors assimilated. They separated themselves from each other and from the land because that was what they thought was best. And because of this, I have felt a phantom limb, a part of me that is missing. Core to Indigenous justice will be and is restoring relationship to each other, to land and place. I imagine a Massachusetts in which I am welcomed as a adoptee to the Massachusetts, the Wampanoag, the Nipmuc, all of the Indigenous nations that are here, and that we will live in an abundant worldview where there's respect for all things. We have 5 bills right now at UUMass Action we are working to pass in partnership with our Indigenous organizations. They include things like banning racist mascots in our public schools or establishing Indigenous Peoples Day statewide. And so I hope I've shared with you how I have found my liberation to be bound up in each of these campaigns, and so that I can show up for these campaigns as the best version of myself, even though I have the momentum to do it as toxic charity. I can have that momentum of sometimes ending up being in a paternalistic way. I work over and over to show up as an equal, hand in hand. And when I do that, when I take the time, I find that I do the best justice work. I go to meetings that are inconvenient or long or at times that I don't really want to be there. I show up for actions that might be in the cold or a long drive. I receive feedback more gracefully because I see how my liberation is tied up. It's not just something I'm doing for someone else. I'm doing it for me. And so I invite you, as you do your justice work with UUMass Action or throughout your life, to think about, how are you showing up? Are you, like me, sometimes slipping into toxic charity? Or are you showing up as an equal, hand in hand, knowing that your liberation is bound up together? I want to invite all of you to join UUMass Action and to join one of our campaigns, because we need you. The state legislature in Massachusetts is slow. It's one of the least productive in the nation, unfortunately. And there's a lot to be done. We can go congregation, by city or town, but there are some things that have to happen statewide. And so I invite all of you to consider joining our newsletter. At coffee hour, I'll kindly invite you to fill out an interest card. You don't have to, but I will invite you to join us, to come be in solidarity with me and with all of our partners. Next month is our annual Advocacy Day, where we go statewide as you use together into the State House on Zoom to meet with our legislators and to share our values as you use, and with our partners, and say, we need more justice. There's 6 months left in the legislative session. This is literally the most important time to get involved. And so I am so glad to have been with you today and to be part of holding that crystal of doing justice work. Thank you so much. We'll now sing hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land. Know that you are sacred. Know that you are honored. Know that you are prayed for. Know that others gave offerings in your behalf. Know that you are not alone. Know that you were known before you came. Know that you have choices. Know that you have a name. Know that many know your name. And know that when you reach, there are others reaching for you. Blessed be.